saying that the statement by Helen Zille, it is a threat to the stability of the GNU because it is inviting a response from the ANC. And if the ANC can respond the same way, then we know that the GNU is in for a nice boxing match.
Just 2 days ago, we discussed the removal of Cilliers Brink as Tshwane mayor. Now, Helen Zille has thrown down the gauntlet, issuing an ultimatum to the ANC. Reinstate Brink or face the consequences. And if that wasn't enough, Zille has requested a meeting with President Cyril Ramaphosa, accusing the ANC Gauteng of breaking ranks with the national leadership. What is going on behind the scenes, and how will this impact the future of the ANC-DA alliance? Let's dive into the latest developments. Welcome back to Inkari. It's time. I'm Kondus, your host, and today we are following up on our last video about the removal of Cilliers Brink as Tshwane mayor. Since then, the political stakes have only gotten higher. Helen Zille has not only accused Panyaza Lesufi and the Gauteng ANC of orchestrating a power play, but has now issued a direct ultimatum to the ANC leadership. Reinstate Brink or risk the breakdown of the DA-ANC relations. And in a bold move, Zille has requested a meeting with President Cyril Ramaphosa, claiming that the Gauteng ANC is going rogue. Stick with us as we unpack what this means for South African politics.
I saw that she's now given the ANC an ultimatum. She says the ANC must vote with the DA to bring Cilliers Brink back, or the DA will no longer enter into any talks to save other municipalities. But there's an issue here that's also been confusing people, where Helen Zille last week says the national ANC had actually agreed with the DA, seemingly, on protecting Cilliers Brink and forming some kind of local government of unity in Tshwane. But then the ANC in Gauteng says, well, that's not necessarily the case, because the impression Helen is trying to create is that the Gauteng ANC is actually ignoring the advice of the national government. So I thought we should hear from the chairperson of the ANC in Gauteng, Panyaza Lesufi, who joins us now on the line. Premier, thank you so much for making time for us. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam. Are you well?
I'm all right.
I was on the road. Let me quickly park. So
no problem. While you park.
It's fine.
While you park, Premier, just take a listen to also what Helen Zille had indicated to me this morning as we were pre-recording that conversation, that we're going to be playing all of it at 10 o'clock. It's basically repeating what she's been saying over the last few days, including in your interaction with her on social media. You were having good discussions with the African National Congress. They were also talking to Action SA. And then on voting day, they decide to vote with Action SA. What do you understand? What was happening behind the scenes in your negotiations?
Well, we were in very good and constructive discussions with the ANC, not only about Tshwane, but about several other metros as well. And the point was to stabilize those governments. We can't have a situation where there is one motion of no confidence after another, where there is enormous instability, which is terrible for the economy. And so we have been looking at getting stabilization agreements in several metros till the election of 2026. Now, suddenly the ANC went quiet and they didn't answer calls, and then I always know there's a problem. They're not phoning back or telling us anything because they've run into an internal problem, and that internal problem was Lesufi. And Panyaza Lesufi basically wants to go with Action SA. And what swung the ANC in the end, as I understand it, was that Lesufi argued that if the ANC went with Action SA, the ANC would get the mayor of Tshwane. And that if they went with the DA would keep Cilliers Brink as the mayor of Tshwane.
Mm-hmm.
So having the offer of the ANC mayor on the table, they decided to go with the ANC mayor offer on the table, and they forfeited all the other metros in the process, because we're now not going to have any of those discussions in the other metros until Brink is restored.
So that's what Helen Zille told me. We'll play that full interview after 10 o'clock. Premier Lesufi, is there a disagreement between the national ANC and the Gauteng ANC on how things should have transpired in Tshwane?
Not at all, Madam. Actually, I'm baffled by this attitude to indicate that there's a difference between us and the national leadership, and specifically my name. Just to be on record, Madam, in the last 10 days, I was not even in the country when this discussion about Tshwane was discussed. So for me to be dragged and be used as a ho-ho for the collapse of Tshwane or for the Councillor Brink to be recalled, it just baffles me. I was not there. I was not part of the discussion. I've never participated in discussion. Actually, contrary to popular view, I was following the deliberations that were happening in Tshwane from Germany on my social media networks. I never had a meeting with the national leadership. I never had a meeting with our provincial leadership, because when you are on leave, you leave those that need to run matters to run matters. So why my name is dragged, why I'm used as a ho-ho that didn't agree to this arrangement, it baffles me. But besides that point, Madam Major, which is something that the Democratic Alliance is missing. You remember the motion was tabled, I think, a month or so, Madam Major. And the leadership of the DA came to me before I left for Germany. They came to me. It was led by Solim Simang, Mayor Brink, and Mr. Nel. They requested to meet with me as the chair of the ANC so that we can postpone the motion and give them an opportunity to present a case on how they want to present an alternative on the issue of Tshwane. I met with them at a restaurant in Bedfordview, and this matter is not raised. And on the basis of them requesting to meet with me and requesting a postponement of the motion so that we can have discussions, probably they didn't tell their federal chair, Helen Zille, because in that meeting there were constructive discussions and we postponed the motion, and that's why the motion was not carried in the last council meeting. And that was on the basis of our discussions. That was led by myself. So I would have told them that I'm not ready, I'm not prepared, I don't want to discuss with them and all these things. But on the second...
In our previous video, we explored how Cilliers Brink, the DA's mayor of Tshwane, was removed from office under contentious circumstances. For many in the DA, this move was seen as an attempt to weaken their influence in key municipalities, particularly in the lead-up to future coalition negotiations. The spotlight quickly shifted to Panyaza Lesufi and the Gauteng ANC, with Helen Zille accusing them of orchestrating Brink's removal as part of a broader power play. Now, just days later, the situation has escalated even further. Helen Zille has taken a hard stance on Brink's removal. She has given the ANC an ultimatum: reinstate Cilliers Brink as the mayor of Tshwane, or risk a complete breakdown in relations between the DA and ANC. This ultimatum comes as Zille accuses the Gauteng ANC under Panyaza Lesufi of undermining not only the DA but also the government of national unity. According to Zille, Brink's removal is part of a deliberate effort by the Gauteng ANC to sideline the DA influence in local governance. By issuing this ultimatum, Zille is signaling that the DA is ready to escalate the conflict if Brink is not reinstated. In a move that highlights the growing divide between the ANC at the national and provincial levels, Zille has requested an urgent meeting with President Cyril Ramaphosa. She believes that the Gauteng ANC, led by Panyaza Lesufi, is breaking ranks with the national ANC leadership. Zille is concerned that the Gauteng ANC's action could undermine the stability of the government of national unity, and she is seeking Ramaphosa's intervention to resolve the situation. This request for a meeting suggests that Zille sees Lesufi's action not as an isolated incident, but as a part of a larger political strategy that could have far-reaching consequences for the ANC-DA relationship. By bringing Ramaphosa into the conversation, Zille is attempting to put pressure on the national leadership to rein in the Gauteng ANC.
Second matter, the decision for the motion to be voted in was taken by our national leadership. The National Working Committee, 2 weeks before I left for Germany, invited us as the provincial leadership and also invited us together with our regional leadership of Tshwane to say, come and present your scenarios. And we presented both scenarios. We presented the scenario that involved the DA. We presented the scenario that involved Action SA. And we then said, no, leave. We'll come back to you. And I'm told the national leadership came on the day the motion has been voted to say, support the motion. And that's how the motion was supported. I was not there. I was not part of the discussion. I didn't contribute to this discussion. But I don't understand this obsession of the DA and many journalists that are just dragging my name as somebody who's rogue, somebody who's not controllable, somebody that undermines the president of the country, and somebody that has an ambition to be a president of this country. I'm still wet behind my ears, Madi Major. I have no ambition at all to lead the ANC national. I have no ambition at all to be the president. Actually, this president was supported primarily by myself. The first rally President Ramaphosa addressed to indicate that it's the running to be the president of the ANC was in Tembisa. And now I'm labeled an Alexander Mafia. The first, if you go to the last conference where President Ramaphosa was voted, who led the leadership of Gauteng into that to vote for Ramaphosa? It's myself. So this pseudo-analyst that automatically drag my name to say I'm a Alexander Mafia, Paul Mashatine corner, led by unfounded allegations by Helen Zille, baffles me. I really don't know why people can do this.
What's the next step? Because Helen Zille says Cilliers Brink is going to be put as a candidate for the DA when the new mayor is being voted in. In fact, Helen Zille says that you have a choice here as the ANC. Either you vote with the DA to bring Cilliers Brink back, or the DA will no longer enter into any talks to save other municipalities.
I'm glad it's explicit that those discussions are led by our General Secretary Cilliers Brink and Makura. And we will get guidance from them. If they want the ANC to fill the candidate, the national leadership will tell us. If they want Action SA to be supported with a candidate, the national leadership will tell us. Or if they want any other person to stand as a mayor, we'll be guided by national leadership. We are one organization called the African National Congress. This obsession to try to create a division between ourselves as a province and national irritates me. And it's something that falls squarely within the Swat Khefar that was there, the Communist Party fear that was created, now the EFF fear that is created. And I've been accused that I'm very close to EFF, I'm close to MK Party, something that is far-fetched, that cannot be substantiated by evidence and cannot be supported by any discussion that I had, either with EFF or MK Party. I remain a leader of the ANC. I'm under the command of our president called Ramaphosa, and I'm prepared to be guided by the national leadership of the ANC on any other part. I have no ambitions, and I have no ambitions to either don't support the national leadership on matters that affect how we relate to coalition government. Actually, it's the DA itself that has created the chaos that we're in, and they're trying to avoid that. They were running Johannesburg without us. We're occupying opposition benches. What happened? They irritated PA, and that's how that government collapsed. They were running Ekurhuleni with EFF. What happened? They irritated EFF, and that government collapsed. They were running Tshwane without us. What happened? They irritated DA, and that municipality collapsed. The DA does not have the ability to manage relations, and the DA does not have the ability to respect those that are in coalition with. And check, after we've taken over, there is no mayor that was a vote of no confidence, because we know how to manage relations and we know how to ensure that everything runs smoothly when we have this kind of coalition government.
Zille's ultimatum and a call for a meeting with Ramaphosa could have significant implications for the future of a DA-ANC relations. If the national ANC leadership fails to intervene, or if Brink is not reinstated, the DA could pull back from cooperation with the ANC in the government of national unity. This could lead to political instability in key municipalities and potentially weaken the GNU as a whole. On the other hand, if Ramaphosa steps in and mediates a solution, it could preserve the fragile relationship between the two parties. However, with Zille's accusation and ultimatum now public, it's clear that the tensions are reaching a boiling point. The removal of Brink and the subsequent political fallout have sparked conversation across South Africa. Some South Africans are backing Zille's stance, arguing that the Gauteng ANC is overreaching its power and undermining democracy. Others believe that Zille is overreacting and that the removal of Brink is part of the natural political process. Many are concerned that the focus of internal political battles is distracting from the real issues affecting South Africa, including unemployment, service delivery, and economic inequality. Whether or not Brink is reinstated, ordinary citizens are questioning what impact this will have on their everyday lives. Zille's insistence on Brink being reinstated is interesting, especially considering that his predecessor, Randall Williams, didn't regard him as the best mayor. Watch this clip of Randall Williams and decide for yourself what it says about the DA.
Since July 2022, there was a faction in my caucus consisting of a few white councillors, a few, not the majority, a few. They then would attack me consistently with the support of Solly, I must say. Solly and some of his friends in the caucus. They would regularly attack me on the caucus WhatsApp groups. So what I also found out, one of them then screenshot the attacks against me and they sent it to Helen and then claimed that the whole caucus turned against me. So already they got the support of Helen and John to oust me. At the same time, in July, I saw the trouble coming. In July 2022, they suddenly appointed Cilliers Brink to be in charge of white stakeholders in the city of Tshwane, and that all service delivery issues concerning white residents had to be referred to Cilliers Brink. And the instruction always also implied that I had to, as mayor, had to report to Cilliers Brink. And I absolutely refused. And I told my chief of staff, there's no way I'm going to report to someone who is not a politician in the city of Tshwane and who's not above me. I'm not going to happen. And then afterwards, Solly sent a WhatsApp message. It was never intended that I should report to Cilliers Brink. So I could see from that time, and with the faction, there was a move to oust me as mayor. And it was clear, the thinking then already was to appoint Cilliers Brink. So the point I want to make is, disrespect for the multi-party coalition agreement, the ousting of Cilliers Brink, I don't know why the issue of motions of no confidence has suddenly become a problem. As the DA in the city of Tshwane, we've made extensive uses of it. We brought it several times against Marunwa. We brought it under Solly as well, motions of no confidence. We brought several motions of no confidence in the city of Tshwane to remove the current speaker. So when it suits the DA, motions of no confidence, it's absolutely fine. But when it's against the DA, no, it shouldn't be used. So that is the circumstances. I don't believe Cilliers Brink has a divine right to govern the city of Tshwane. The city of Tshwane has severe problems. Whether he's the right person to run the country, I can't say. Whether he's the right person, but one thing I do know, he's definitely not the Messiah. The information given to the residents of the city of Tshwane is misleading.
I thought by leaving the city of Tshwane, I'm able to stay out of politics, but it seems politics does not want to stay away from me. So I've seen several newspaper articles where my name has been denigrated, and I decided, well, I think it's time to speak out and to inform the residents of Tshwane of the true circumstances that I've left the city, and also what's happening in the city currently. And I can clearly tell the residents there's no Messiah that came to the city of Tshwane to save the city of Tshwane, because there are misstatements coming out of the city of Tshwane that paints a false picture. The first one is that the mayor that just left the city of Tshwane was responsible for an improved audit outcome, and he's taken credit for it. Helen Zille has mentioned it several times, that's evidence of him improving the management of the finances of the city. And yet journalists never ever looked at the actual facts, because that audit outcome refers to the financial period of 1st July 2022 until 30th of June 2023. Now, if you look at that financial period, Cilliers Brink was only elected towards the end of April 2023. So of the 12 months that the financial year consists of, he was only there for 2 months. So how can he now claim credit for something other mayors did? I was there for 7.5 months of that financial year, and Councillor Marunwa that passed on was also mayor during that period, and he was there for about 2.5 months. So there's no way they can claim that Cilliers Brink is responsible for the improvement, the turnaround of the finances of the city. He wasn't there.
In just few days, what began as the removal of a mayor has escalated into a political showdown between the DA and the ANC. Helen Zille's ultimatum to reinstate Cilliers Brink and her request for a meeting with President Cyril Ramaphosa highlight the growing tensions between the ANC Gauteng and the national leadership. The future of the government of national unity could hang in the balance. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Helen Zille's ultimatum will lead to Brink's reinstatement, or is this just the beginning of a deeper political conflict between the DA and the ANC? Thanks for watching. Inkari is time. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more updates on this ongoing political saga. Drop your thoughts in the comments on whether you think Helen Zille's ultimatum will work and what this means for the future of the DA-ANC relationship. Thank you for watching and take care.